Imagine a quiet rural town, two teenage boys, in a summer night that should have been uneventful. But instead, it turned into one of the most chilling mysteries in American history. On August 23, 1987, 16-year-old Don Henry and 17-year-old Kevin Ives left their homes in Bryant, Arkansas, for a night of hanging out with friends. By dawn, their lifeless bodies were found on a set of railroad tracks, run over by a train. What happened that night has haunted their families, investigators, and anyone who has heard the story. At 4:40 a Union Pacific train engineer noticed something horrifying, a motionless shape on the tracks ahead. Despite his attempts to stop the train, it was too late. The train collided with what appeared to be two bodies. When emergency responders arrived, they found the remains of Don Henry and Kevin Ives, sprawled across the tracks with a green tarp partially covering them. Authorities initially ruled their deaths an accident, claiming the boys had smoked too much marijuana, passed out, and didn't hear the train coming. Their families refused to accept this explanation. They knew their sons, and they knew something far darker was at play. One of the first inconsistencies was the green tarp. Multiple witnesses, including the train crew, reported seeing it covering the boys' bodies. However, by the time investigators arrived, the tarp had vanished. What happened to it? Was it evidence of a cover-up? Then came the physical evidence. Don's rifle, which he had taken with him that night, was found nearby, broken in half. Autopsies revealed that both boys had been struck in the head before their deaths, and Kevin's skull showed signs of blunt force trauma. These findings immediately raised questions. Were the boys unconscious before they were placed on the tracks? And if so, who put them there? Enter the controversial local medical examiner, Dr. Fahmy Malek. He ruled the deaths accidental, stating the boys were in a cannabis-induced coma and had fallen asleep on the tracks. But this conclusion was widely criticized. Forensic experts argued that the amount of marijuana in their systems was not enough to incapacitate them. Under pressure from the boys' families, the bodies were exhumed for a second autopsy. Renowned forensic pathologist Dr. Joe Burton concluded that Don and Kevin had been killed before being placed on the tracks. He'd been stabbed, and Kevin had suffered a blow to the head. This revelation changed everything. It was no longer an accident, it was a murder. As the investigation progressed, witnesses began to come forward with information about suspicious activity near the tracks that night. One witness reported seeing two men in military fatigues walking along the tracks, carrying rifles. Another claimed to have seen a small plane flying low over the area, sparking theories about drug drops and illegal activity. But then, the witnesses started dying under mysterious circumstances. One witness, Greg Collins, was shot in the face before he could testify. Another, Keith Coney, died in a motorcycle accident while being chased. Jeff Rhodes, who claimed to have information about the case, was found dead in a landfill, his body burned and shot in the head. The pattern was clear. People with knowledge of what happened to Don and Kevin were being silenced. One of the most pervasive theories involves drug trafficking. At the time, Mena, Arkansas, was a known hub for cocaine smuggling, allegedly tied to a CIA operation. Some believe Don and Kevin stumbled upon a drug drop that night, possibly involving local law enforcement or other powerful figures. This theory gained traction when a former prosecutor revealed that the area near the tracks was known for illegal drug activity. Could the boys have witnessed something they weren't supposed to see? And if so, did their killers stage their deaths to look like an accident to protect a larger operation? As the case grew colder, it became increasingly clear that the investigation had been mishandled, possibly intentionally. Dr. Malek's controversial ruling was just the tip of the iceberg. Allegations of corruption extended to local law enforcement and even state officials. Some pointed fingers at high-ranking individuals in Arkansas's political circles, suggesting that a cover-up was orchestrated to protect those involved in the drug trade. This theory gained more weight when journalist Myra Leverett published a detailed investigation exposing the connections between the case and larger networks of corruption in the state. But despite the growing body of evidence, no charges were ever brought against those suspected of orchestrating the boys' murders. So what really happened to Don and Kevin? After decades of investigation, the most probable cause appears to be this: the boys were in the wrong place at the wrong time. They may have stumbled upon a drug drop involving powerful individuals and were silenced to prevent them from talking. The staging of their bodies on the tracks was an attempt to cover up the crime, but the rushed and sloppy investigation left too many loose ends. The deaths of Don Henry and Kevin Ives remain unsolved, but they have left an indelible mark on their families, the community, and the true crime world. Their mothers, Linda Ives and Margie Henry, became relentless advocates for justice, pushing for further investigations and refusing to let their son's case fade into obscurity. Today, the Boys on the Tracks case is a haunting reminder of the dangers of corruption and the devastating cost of silence. It's a story of two lives cut short, a community betrayed, and a system that failed to deliver justice. What would you do if your loved ones were taken from you, and the truth was buried under layers of lies and fear? The story of Don Henry and Kevin Ives is a chilling tale of power, corruption, and the enduring fight for truth. Thank you for watching this deep dive into the Boys on the Tracks case. If you want to help keep their story alive, like this video, share it, and subscribe for more true crime mysteries. Together, we can ensure that cases like this are never forgotten. Do you believe this case can ever be solved? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update on cases that matter.